Okay, cool. I'm going to start letting folks in. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hey,
Great to see you.
Mr. Malaysia, Skolnick, Lieberman,
Excellent crew we got.
the
gathered in here
icons of
so
the
far.
age.
Yes, very good to see everyone. All right.
Wow,
Well,
a lot of people.
you're almost all in here. So we'll get started in a minute. I think still waiting for a couple people to connect on audio. Okay, good. I'll give an intro here to what's going on today, and then we'll get started. I'll introduce our guest, and we'll hit the ground running. So, welcome everyone to Piano Tech Radio Hour. As always, we're being brought to you by Piano Technicians Master Classes, an online educational resource that offers you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. Find out more at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. We just finished our first online convention. No, our second online convention ever. And we got a lot of great content. If you missed it, you can take a look at the recordings or one lecture at a time, whatever you like, or you can subscribe and you'll get one lecture a month added to your library. Today's guest here is Bernard Malberg. He is the owner of Malberg Piano Restoration. Quite a creative name. His goal has been to help his customers return cherished musical instruments to beautiful condition. By preserving cultural treasures, he makes the world just a bit better, one piano at a time. And he's a soul brother of our soul brother, David Anderson. So, David, tell us a little about what you know about Bernard and his soul.
Well, I'd known Bernard by reputation for decades as like the guy in Texas, the rebuilder, or one of the two like giant rebuilding shops in Texas. And heard he was kind of like a bohemian, great guy. Did a lot of service with PTG, really beloved in the community. But I had never met him until like 4 years ago when I went to teach at the regional conference there, the SCRC, and he sat in on a class, and then we sat together in the lunchroom, and just, man, it was a huge connection, big time connection. And he ended up coming out to California and spending time with me at my house, and I ended up going back to Austin and did an all-day program at the University of Texas and did some mentoring the day after, and we just got really close. We really his work, his life as a craftsperson is amazing. His pianos are impeccable. His shop is about the coolest shop I've ever been in. He designed it and built it, and it's a classic, like classic artisan's piano workshop. Super timeless, I would say. And he's just been around and been in the piano business for more than 4 decades, and he's got a lot of wisdom and clarity about a lot of things. So I thought he would be an incredible resource for Piano Tech Radio Hour, and here he is.
Well, thank you, David. That's an amazing introduction, and
we got echoes. Hold on, Bernard.
1 second here.
We got echoes.
Since you're coming through your phone, Bernard, you don't have to unmute yourself on Zoom.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha.
Is this audio good?
That's great.
That's great.
Perfect.
I got a little echo latency thing happening.
You're good
But,
now.
let's see.
Sorry about that. You could
Okay,
turn
you
your
hear
volume.
me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you all right. If you need
We
to
have
turn
no
your own
echo.
phone volume down, you can.
Yeah, we don't.
Okay.
We don't
If you
hear
want,
echo.
you know what?
All
we can
right.
do a little.
Am I still coming through okay for what you guys can hear?
Yes, you're fine.
Nope. All right. All right. So, well, anyway, yeah. Well, thank you to Mr. Anderson for the kind words, and getting to know David in these recent years has been a real special event for me. He had at my house for 5 days when we had 2 days of tutoring and an all day at the UT Austin School of Music. So that I had conspired to find a way for him to come back to Texas, and so we kind of organized this little event. So that was big fun back in 2018. And so,
Yep.
But now 2 years later, we hadn't seen each other. But anyway, dearly beloved, thank you for joining us today. And I don't know anything about pianos except for stuff about rebuilding them. I don't play the piano. I don't tune pianos, which are pretty heretical things in this world. I'd be a better rebuilder if I was a tuner. I'd be a better rebuilder if I was a tuner. But, you know, you can only be brilliant at a very tiny number of things. Only a few of them coincide with pianos. So anyway, that's kind of background. I'm here to answer questions. You know, I've got a lot of opinions about piano rebuilding. I mean, like hundreds, maybe thousands of opinions about piano rebuilding, and a certain number of them are probably even true. So, you know, I'm going to share those as time allows, and then of course you guys are very free to, I guess, tap in a question, and I'll do my best to tell you what I think about it and what my background is. So. So David, you got any more questions? You want me to ramble on and tell about my early life and stuff like that, or?
Let me check in real quick. Are you still getting a latency on the audio?
Well, no, actually, it sounds pretty good.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. We also have some photos that you sent us too, so if we want to run through those at some point, we can.
Yeah, you can do that anytime, so because people are going to get tired of looking at me. So yeah, I just you know, they can just show up to give people something to look at. So.
Well, if you can give us 2-3 minutes about how you got to being an artisan world-class piano rebuilder from Bernard Malberg, wherever you grew up in Texas.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a 5th generation Texan. I didn't live in Texas until 1966. Dad was an optics scientist, and we moved to south of Houston. He took a job at NASA where he worked for 20 years. So I'm actually the son of a rocket scientist, if you will. Yeah, he designed camera systems that helped map the moon and went on the Apollo missions and all that. But I grew up not really wanting to join the technical world. I'm a child of the 60s and the 70s. The Vietnam War was going on. I became a conscientious objector. And turned into kind of a left-wing guy opposing that kind of thing. I decided that I was not going to be suitable for institutional employment. And after a couple of years going to college at UT Austin, I decided, you know, I should find some other useful things I could do. I became interested in playing the banjo and the fiddle and the guitar in sort of the old-time Appalachian Southern American style. Began interest in repairing string instruments, building some string instruments. So when I was 21 years old, I took a job working for a South Austin pipe organ builder named Otto Hoffman. That was my first time to workshop all day. I learned to use all kinds of tools, how to sharpen things, how to use a workbench, you know, all kinds of grunt work. Very, very formative for me. And Otto was quite a notable character in the pipe organ world and otherwise. So after about 3 years, I went out on my own I built a small shop and was able to get a certain amount of work doing string instrument repair. This piano technician guy got hold of me and wondered if I could ever refinish a piano. And I said, well, I don't see why not. So, I ended up refinishing and repairing some pianos that he sent over to my shop. Me not knowing much about pianos, but I did know a little bit about woodwork. Ultimately, I went into partnership with this guy named Bob Hunter, and he'd been in the field about 10 or 12 years, whereas I hadn't been in there at all. We ended up going into partnership, rented a warehouse space in South Austin, basically hired employees, had fixed overhead, which was very, very frightening. But so November 1980 through the end of 1983, after that point, I bought out his interest in the business, so I was a sole proprietor from January 1984 forward, and so that's been me, sole proprietor. I was in my South Austin shop until the end of 1999, at the turn of the century. In those years in Austin, I really solidified what I did. I started having the opportunity to work on more and better pianos. In 1985, I was entrusted with restoring some pianos for the University of Texas School of Music under the Charles Ball, and that was a wonderful connection for me because they had some really good pianos that were in really bad shape, and they had a whole bunch of Model Bs that just needed a whole bunch of work. And so I was making pin blocks, and sometimes even in my early days, putting in some soundboards with the help of Mr. Nick Gravagna. I was one of Gravagna's soundboard in the box customers. I think I maybe did 30 pianos using Nick's soundboards. So over those years, I kind of got some connections and got a word of mouth reputation going, which is exactly what people need if you're going to do this kind of work. So
I got a question for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of really interesting stuff. And of course, our people that are observing here, you're free to add your questions as we run along here. You mentioned that you had a partner and that you bought out his side of the business. And I know that the piano business is kind of, it's not one of those businesses where things get sold and traded around a lot. So I don't know if you're willing to share. It seems like it was quite a while ago. Maybe there's something interesting in how you went about, creating that transaction and valuing his part of the business. Was that easy? Was it difficult? Do you feel like it ended up being fair? Do you mind answering questions about that? If not,
oh no, I'm happy to. So, are you addressing like people entrusting me with the work, or deciding that they should send me the work, or?
I guess my question is: you said you had a partner that you were running the business.
Oh
with,
yeah.
You sort of bought his share of the business, and so.
Oh, that's right.
You came up with like a lump sum or like a payment, or a payment.
Oh yeah. No, I think I got a bank loan. And eventually got that paid off. So.
Was it a certain multiple of the sort of revenue that you were making over the course of a year, or how did you figure out that?
No, it was just a flat fee in that case. Yeah, and he had to sign a non-compete agreement too. So.
But the bank gave you a loan for that too. It wasn't difficult. The bank could say, "Here's the business you
against all odds."
Against all odds.
So,
but yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I say myself, and I think most people who do this work, it's really a word of mouth way of developing your known persona in a certain field. And of course, I ended up working for quite a few piano technicians. People would refer one of their customers' pianos to